15th interview, we talked to Edoardo, and he has, for the first time, been somebody that has real artistic talent. Whilst he doesn't admit it, obviously a bit too humble to tell me that, he's actually gone and done life art drawing classes. So this isn't like he's a complete amateur, and he's not pulled in by the fact that you don't need to be an artist to do this. What's really driving this conversation, if you ask me, is to try and see inside the mind of Yanis, to try and understand exactly how this creative process works so that he can produce this type of content himself. So listen in, check out the different four forces that are acting, make sure you mark them out while you're listening. And then at the end, I'll sort of give my recap on this as usual, and then separately we'll have a look and get a four forces diagram and debrief going. Cheers. But what we're doing together is some very, very early stage research. And what we're really interested in, or what I'm interested in, is the language that people use to describe the whole process, from first realizing that courses existed or that they had a need to learn something, all the way through shopping, if you went looking at different options, making the decision, and then actually experiencing the course itself. So the good news is it's your story in your own words. You can't get anything wrong. There's no trick questions. It's literally just whatever you remember. The bad news, though, is because it's about language, I'll apologize up front. I'll probably interrupt, and it's not because I want to be rude. It's just if you use a word or a phrase, I've got to make sure I'm following along and I know what it means to you.
Absolutely. Also, not being a native English speaker, I think it's gonna be okay actually if you help me, be more specific and challenge my my words. No problem.
No problem. Happy to do that. You can kind of think about this. Imagine it's like a Netflix documentary series of Yanis's customer. This is your episode. So I might ask some weird questions, like imagine I'm filming the scene, who's in it, what's going on. But I find it jogs people's memory. So yeah, apologies for the weird questions, but hopefully it's fun. So Edoardo, maybe could you just give me a little bit of context to understand your story? So who are you? Like, what's going on in your life around the time that you joined Yanis's course?
Yes. So let me see. How can I start? Not to make it also too long. So I've been working my whole career in big multinationals.
Okay.
And and I'm now back in Italy after like 8 years lived in the Netherlands, in Amsterdam.
Okay.
And when I moved back, instead of accepting a job for the same company, a multinational I was working for, I decided to start my own project. And starting my own business, working mainly as a consultant and coach for related to dynamics in groups, so team dynamics, managing and dealing with change and transformation, and then there's a whole part related to more performance coaching, both for individuals and teams. And I've always loved drawing and illustration in general since I was a child, but I always kept it as a hobby or a passion. Never really made it a part of my work. But of course, what happens is that you have, especially in corporate contexts, to give presentations quite often. And I always found that, using images was a strong way to convey messages and be more, succinct and impactful. So I always kept it. Sometimes I was sketching something or using a small drawing, and then just as a trigger for a reflection or, to spark that thought or conversation around something.
Okay.
And then I discovered like that on LinkedIn, there were actually many people doing it in a way more structured way. And it was a language, the one of using metaphors in, let's say, visual metaphors. It was a language that I felt I could really speak well, in a way, because I had both the content elements and the proximity to the drawing, and also the passion and capability, if you want, for it. And that's how it started. I discovered Yanis on LinkedIn, I think because of someone that reposted something that I don't remember which was the first one, the first visual of Yanis that I saw, but and out of many options, because of course he's not the only creator who does that, I thought he had something that I was probably missing a bit more than others, because others were more, let's say, they were closer to my own style. That it's more illustrative, less minimal, if you want. So I always bring in a drawing element, and I thought he would really be helpful for me to just clean and structure my ideas in a more minimal way. And I'm always very curious to learn about new approaches. I have read books on the topics of how to explain your ideas visually, the powers of images, etc. So, but I'm always really curious to see more than the work, like the thought process behind the work of people. And that what is really what I found interesting about Yannis' course, because he was saying this is not gonna be about creating images or teaching you how to draw, but it's really just taking you through a process that will help you explain whatever you're thinking in a more structured, lean, direct, engaging way. So that was my idea. I just wanted to have a glimpse at the process he was following, and that was it. I think that was the main driver for me, and to enroll. I think the price was also very, very affordable, and there were.
When did you enroll?
Oh, now it's, I guess, almost a year ago.
Okay, so it was
I think it was I don't remember if it was end of last year or the beginning of this year, but it was winter time. And that's it.
And you said it wasn't very expensive. Can you remember how much it cost?
Yeah, I think it was around either 100 or 150 at the time, but it was and maybe it was in dollar. I don't remember if it was in dollars or not. I can look it up later for you. But let's say what I remember of it is that it was probably roughly I think 100 or not more than 150. I think back then. So it was either and I don't remember if it was in dollars, so either 90, because now I'm also thinking about other courses that I saw at the time. So yeah, but roughly it was in that range.
Okay. Thanks. And you don't have to be exact. It's more what you remember. You mentioned that that's quite cheap. So, but where does this money come from? Is this just fun money? Is it money you set aside for learning?
Well, I didn't say cheap. It was more like I said, affordable. For the let's say, to me, what I would get from the course was aligned, was priced okay. So let's say I'm a bit in the coaching business. So if I wanna get a coaching hour or a couple of hours of coaching from someone, that would be roughly, let's say, the amount of money. So I also thought, okay, if I have to take it as a coaching session on this type of topic, would I pay 500 euros or would I pay 100 euros? And I said, okay, for this topic, I think this would be what I would spend for sort of coaching session on the topic. He also had a proposal for the premium one that also had a one-to-one interaction or so. But I found that was probably either something to come later, initially to have a glimpse at the whole process and have access to the community, because that was also another thing that really I found interesting, the fact that there was access to a sort of a community of practice, if you want, like-minded people sharing interest on these topics. So I thought it was like priced okay and affordable, because let's say for what I do in my life, because it's always very subjective what is affordable or what not. So I thought, okay, well, to me was okay, and you don't buy a pair of shoes, or it's like priced the same, and I think the return is like really not comparable. I'm someone that invests usually quite a lot when it comes to self-education. And investing in creating networks rather than like clothes or other stuff that I don't perceive, at least, with a very high return on the investment. So
okay, that's awesome. No, thank you for that. So basically, if I'm hearing you right, the premium offer wasn't too expensive. It was more, maybe I'll need that later. I just want to get a glimpse and join a community.
Indeed. So for me, it was really, as I mentioned, like to get a glimpse at the whole and get an understanding of the thought process behind the work. Also to help myself structure my own thoughts when it comes to the creation moment. And I thought the course would be fine. I didn't see the need of having like a one-to-one interaction with a coach on that at the moment. So I said, okay, let's see. Also, because I wasn't sure like how much time also I would commit, and actually I kept going quite consistently for like a year or a little bit more now. So it's I think it was good also, to embark on a journey and find something that would keep me a bit accountable. The fact to have like a community of practice, and also I think that the feedback part is probably not advertised so much, but it's quite a good part of Yanni's offering. Because you can send pictures and images, and he records like a feedback session. So you get, without having that one-to-one interaction, but he is like creating bundles of and sort of batches of pictures from all people in his community, and then does a sort of feedback. And that I also found interesting.
Yeah, you mentioned that he's not advertising that so much. So did you know you were going to get that before you joined, or was that one of those happy things that I signed up for a course and look, I actually get feedback as well?
Yeah, I think it was, realized that you would have access to the community feedback sessions, etc. But I didn't realize at the moment like how personalized that was. Because he's really going through one by one all the pictures and giving his feedback, and then if you post back the picture, is willing to comment. So then you really get the one-to-one experience without really having to jump on a call with him. For that. So I found that was quite a plus, and so not what really, let's say, wasn't really the key driver in my decision to buy the course. But once I realized how it was structured, I actually really enjoyed it and appreciated it.
That's awesome. Thank you. That helps. So I guess back in, let's say, December, January sort of time in the winter, you've signed up to this course. Can you take me back in time? When was it that you had the first thought that either this was a skill you needed or a skill you lacked, or like how do I, what goes on that suddenly gets you sort of looking into this?
Yeah, I think there was, first of all, there was a previous commitment to spend time and invest time on creating these images, because I found that there was good response on my initial creations. And then, yeah, as I always do with everything that I do, I try to educate myself more on the topic. And then I said, okay, instead of just relying on books or what I read around or my own experience, it would be good just to, check what goes on in the brains of other creators, and that was it. And then I picked him instead of others. But yeah, as I said, more because I found his style less similar and more complementary to what I was doing.
Okay.
And yeah, because I think we can learn a lot, not just by staying with people with similar thinking, but like challenging our thinking with people with a slightly different one, or that can complement what you are lacking.
Yeah.
So that was the idea.
And that's awesome. So maybe this is the right time, because it sounds like there's a little bit going on here. So you were in Amsterdam for 8 years, and then you've moved back to Italy and you started your own consulting and coaching company.
Yeah.
When did that happen?
That was, let's say, well, formally, the company was set up in May 2024.
Okay.
But then, well, I moved back end of 2023.
Okay.
And then I kept also working for a few months remotely with my company, and then
Yeah. Okay.
things evolved a bit over time. But that's
You mentioned that you've always loved drawing and illustration, and it was a hobby, but not something you
yes.
were using for work. So are you a talented artist? Is this like, are you very good at this, or is this just, I like to do it? It doesn't matter if I'm no good at
Well,
it, I'll do it anyway.
yeah, no, well, that's also more for the others to say, but no, I had like decent results, and I also invested time studying. Right, I was like self-taught in a way, but I was reading book, especially the human figure. Like I've always drawn either comic characters or people in general. So no landscapes or so yeah, either from comic characters and cartoon characters to more like realistic human figures. And I did like life drawing classes with model posing.
Right.
And so yeah, no, like I think decent results for an amateur artist, let's say.
Yeah. Okay. So and you mentioned, like, that sounds like quite a lot of effort to me to be going and doing life drawing classes and
Yeah.
stuff. So is it something that you spend a lot of time on? Is it like your top hobby, or is it just one of the many things that you do?
Yeah, I think it depends. Different phases of my life, I have dedicated more or less time to that. So let's say also there's I think a moment when I was studying in high school, I was drawing a lot. Like while studying, I was drawing a lot on the side. I still have like also during university, I have the papers where I was doing all my exercises with the formulas, engineering stuff.
Yeah.
And then on the side, on the same page, you see formulas and numbers and letters, and then you find a small face or a doodle or something else. So it was like also a moment to create that small break and disconnect a bit, reset. And so I always kept it like that, more of an energizing activities. Because yeah, that's I was really doing it just out of pleasure. And I did like a couple of exhibitions also in the past, but like small things here in local events.
Yeah. Okay. And you mentioned that kind of in your corporate work, you would be putting together PowerPoint type slide presentations or whatever, and you you'd use your drawings in that. How long has that been going on?
No, that was, and it wasn't always my own drawings. Sometimes I was just taking pictures or photos. But what made me realize is really how powerful a picture could be in telling a story and conveying a message. And then let's say I started then lately incorporating something of mine, but it was more like recognizing the importance of using pictures and how a visual aid can be indeed of help during meetings or so.
And is this something that you've known for a very long while, or is this something that you just sort of stumbled upon?
Yeah, no, I've always felt like there was this good, let's say, connection between how able you are to visualize things and how it can be easier for people to grasp the concept. I wouldn't say much during university time, but as I started working, yeah, actually, my initial, because now I mentioned I work as a consultant and a coach, but actually my background is in engineering, and one of my first jobs was really like a process engineering job in the shop floor of a multinational that was manufacturing like mechanical components. So, but also there, if you think about lean manufacturing, right, you would see how important the visual component is in making sure everyone knows what has to be done. Like they organize stuff, they have visual management boards, they draw maps to see how parts are flowing in the factory, and workers in the shop floor, they have like areas marked in different colors or with different shapes just to make it easier for them to recognize things. So the importance of the visual element was like always there for me.
It's quite interesting. So you just, if I'm trying to make sure I follow along, so obviously in your corporate world you're using images or whatever, you know, it doesn't have to be something you've drawn, it could be a picture or whatever, communicating ideas. Ever since you've left university, you've seen the power of visuals to sort of help people understand. May 2024 you finally get your company set up, and then you mentioned that you were spending time on creating images before you joined Yanis's course, is that right?
Yes. Yeah, in a way, because of course I started following a couple of creators, and I felt, okay, let's like give it a try, because actually most of the content, especially in the leadership and personal development space, was really close to things that I was doing for work, either with teams or individuals. And I said, I feel like I could like create these myself, considering like my skill set, and I enjoy drawing. And then it could be a way also to force myself to process even more and simplify even more things that I want to transfer to others. And then I started like, initially I was doing more like infographic or short carousels, and sometimes even playing with existing images. And then I said, okay, let's commit to once a week, I will create something and draw something. I'll take something, a bit of time for myself. I enjoy the drawing. If it works, nice. Otherwise, who cares? No one knows that that I have done it, and can stay in a drawer. And that's how it started. And then since I saw, actually I was enjoying it doing, and I got like a good response from people, then I said, okay, how can I do it even better? And that's something that actually I'm taking with me since I'm a child. If I start doing something, then I try to understand, okay, how can I do it slightly better every day? And then I study a bit more on the topic. And yeah, that's what when you were saying, oh, are you just an artist, talented? I don't know how much talent there is and how much effort it is, but the point is, if I feel something comes natural, or at least that I can grasp the mechanics of it, then I also put in effort and see how can I take it to like a slightly better level.
This stuff here, just making sure I've got the timeline right. So May 2024, you set the company up. When did you start following these creators of different images? And obviously Yanis is one of them. Who else were you?
Yeah, and I think it was like at least a year before.
Oh, okay.
A year and a half before. Yeah, actually, because I was not on Instagram and also not really using Facebook. So most of the creators that I knew were like via LinkedIn.
Okay.
And now also on X. I was not on X back then. So I'm really not a guy who's on all social media platforms.
Yeah, I guess I'm trying to May 2023. You start following some creators on LinkedIn. What is it about that point in time? Is it just that they're posting these visuals that mirror the type of content you present in your workshops, or is it like what catches your eye that makes you want to follow them?
I think there I had a realization that there were people like doing it not just randomly. Before I was of course I was also seeing these type of pictures and these creators were active way earlier. But then I was coming across pictures, liking the pictures, but really never like following all the work or understanding like there's this guy is an artist and does this. Because for me, like, it was like also the whole idea of the creator space, and this might be embarrassing for people saying, oh look, it's 2025, you're realizing it a bit late. Yes, but I've never really been much on social platforms. So I think that for me it was like 2022, 2023, it's when I also started looking a bit more on LinkedIn and
I guess I'm trying to work out what's so important about that. I'm not really on social, but I'm on LinkedIn, and suddenly I see people. I think you said they're doing it deliberately, not randomly.
Yes.
What does that mean? Like what is it about seeing them deliberately do this that triggers a thought in your head that, hey, I'll follow and watch along?
Yeah, well, maybe connecting to one of your previous questions, like there was really intentional effort put in there, right? So it wasn't just I create pictures for LinkedIn, but actually it was almost a way of life for them that I found very very interesting. Because Yanis is one of others that like really created something nice around it. They even made it like a full business, some of them, right? So, but I never thought it was like, I thought it was like, people that might share something that then was repurposed for leadership or personal development later.
Okay, so if I'm hearing you right, then it's I've got this art skill and background, and I like to do this, and then I'm not really into social media, but suddenly I start seeing people like Yanis posting consistently and deliberately, and it's like, well, actually, people can make money out of doing this, and that's what's caused you sort of caught your eye?
Not people, not the money aspect. Well, they could, but that's not what really got me, because I never thought, I can start a business around that. For me, it was more like, look, maybe there's a space for someone who can draw even in a professional and almost corporate or environment, right? Because I've always drawn, but I never thought like drawing would be really something that I would bring to my corporate or business network. That's right. Like for me, when I was at high school and university, I had like a small HTML based website where I would like scan some drawings or stuff and just put it there. But more like a window showing some of my drawings. But I never thought, look, there could be like a drawing in business terms or in leadership terms. And this is what I realized when I saw these creators, because actually many people in my own network, that it's mainly like professionals, managers, directors, and other people in like the business space, if you want to call them like that, they were actually engaging and recognizing the message delivered by these simple drawings. So I said, okay, this is nice, and it seems it's quite structured. And then, yeah.
Okay, so if I hear it's not that you've seen Yanis and you think, well, I like doing art and I can suddenly make my own income stream out of drawing. It's more, this is the first time I'm seeing people deliberately use drawings and art in a business context, and it's getting engagement and interaction.
Yeah, and then I said, okay, then I realized that I could have my own voice on, if you want, in that space. And initially, I have experimented a lot. Now people would say, "Oh, we can recognize like your work."
Okay.
So, and yeah, very likely that there are some traits and things that I keep like consistent throughout my my work. But initially it was more like experimenting. So it took a bit of time, and I think it's evolving continuously.
Yeah.
But I like the fact that people would say, "Oh, we can now recognize like from the picture that actually comes from you." And
before
that's
or
nice.
after you took Yanis's course?
No, that's later, after, like only very recently.
So I guess,
because of course I don't have like a huge following, but now I'm let's say getting noticed also because of people who are engaging with me that have a bigger audience. So then my work became visible also thanks to that. And yeah, and I like to support others that are like maybe where I was a year before. But again, this for me now, it's really like to push myself to be very to create and process more about things that I actually talk about and use in my work.
Okay.
So yeah.
And so if I'm hearing you right, then it's kind of around about May 2023, you start actively seeing these people on LinkedIn and thinking, maybe I can use visuals in a business sense. I think you then said that you started to create your own visuals and post them up. Can you, like, how long were you doing that for? And
yeah, no, that I think that was like a year later. I'm thinking when I started like actively posting.
Yeah.
Like it was like probably a year ago or so.
Okay.
So initially it was more like I don't know. I didn't make that connection actually initially that I could do the same, because also for me, I don't know, also the fact that I was not really active on social media platforms. So for me, it was more like consuming stuff like from LinkedIn. It was more like, the content comes to me. It's not that I create content for others. And actually a couple of friends and former colleagues then said, oh, but many of the things that you talk about and your ideas, you can just put it there and share it. And then I was always saying, yeah, but like who cares? Like there are already so many people that are sharing ideas and stuff. I'm not the first one, and I will not be the last one. But then it started like, okay, let me see then if I am not doing it for people on the platform, but if I do it because I want to use it in my own lectures, if I want to do it because of my own workshops, and then I might share it on LinkedIn and see what happens, right?
Okay.
But for me, it was really more of a challenge for myself. And I said, okay, let's take some of the key topics, especially the initial ones, were always very connected to things that either I was studying for work or doing in real life. And it was material that I could use in my own practice. And then I shared it. to see the response, but it wasn't the other way around. It
Yeah.
was the goal was not the LinkedIn audience. The goal was I tried to make something that might be useful to like my clients or people I work with, and then I also share it on LinkedIn. Let's see what happens. But that's
Got
the
it.
thing.
So if I'm hearing you right, then the sort of sequence of dominoes falling is I see somebody who are posting this stuff. And therefore I can use art in a business context.
Yeah.
I'm in coaching. I'm teaching people. I'm communicating my ideas. I know how powerful images are. If I put a bit more effort into learning how to do this, it'll force me to clarify my own thoughts on the concepts and the things I'm teaching. And then the output of that is a visual that I can use potentially in my work to help a client or to teach something.
Yeah.
And it's double value because I can also post it on LinkedIn, and
Yes.
if somebody else finds value, great. And if they don't, I'm not so bothered. Is that approximately right?
It is. And actually, initially I didn't know how to do these things. So I was sometimes like copying how people were sharing their own thing. And there was a lot of putting their name and call to action. But actually, I realized that like I wasn't doing it because I wanted to sell anything of mine. I was just like sharing it to have like an additional signal, or let's say to gather additional signals, or to get feedback, and also to just educate, because I like the idea of spreading knowledge around these topics. It's really what moves, and like also part of how I branded, let's say, this series of pictures, and the idea of blending together like my knowledge and passion around personal development and organizational and team development with my passion for drawing was it's called pictarize, right? I use this word pictarize, that pictale, of course, from the picture, and it is about spreading growth visually, right? So the idea is really just to have a picture that is not an endpoint, but is a trigger for that conversation, for that reflection. Because sometimes, the quality of our life often is the quality of the questions we ask ourselves. So if a picture can trigger that additional question or spark, new reflection and see things from a slightly different angle, why not? But and then what happened, I said, okay, I will just focus on giving for now on the platform. And I actually, if you see my post, there's a caption, and then there's my visual, but there's not like advertising myself much, or any call to action, or because I really want to do it just for people to say, okay, if I come across Edoardo in my feeds as I scroll, I know that I will not like get a request for anything else. It's just there to give me something to make either my day a little bit better, asking myself a new question, or I know that I have a picture that I can share with a colleague and do something else, right? So that's it.
On this, so about a year ago, you've started to put more time and effort into creating your own images. What is it that happens between this time last year and maybe December or January or whenever you signed up to the course that causes you to stop just doing it yourself? Like you said, you've got, you're far more talented or trained in art than I am, for example.
Okay.
So what is it that makes you suddenly think I lack the skills, or what is the thought that makes a course make sense?
As I mentioned, like I'm very curious about new approaches and learning about anything that I start working on. And I read a book like called The Back of the Napkin, and other books on how visuals can be useful in explaining concepts and everything. And a lot of those concepts really resonated with me. and they always highlighted some angles or perspectives that I didn't consider. So I said, okay, that's very nice, and let's see what is going on into like other creators' brain. So instead of buying a book, because I think none of them has like a book with the old methodology laid down. I said, okay, I'll just subscribe to the course and see what's in there for me. And actually, I really enjoyed the whole explanation of the process that Yanis goes through, because I think was probably for a structured mind, like because I have this duality in me, if you want, an engineering side on one, on an engineering part on one side, and then the artistic and psychologist part on the other side, as now people are saying. But I thought it was very easy for me to follow, and also very, very clear, right? Because he identifies these elements, and then he takes you through each of them, and two things really, really stuck. Because at the end, you read a book and you take a course or whatever, and you don't remember everything that is in there, but there are usually a couple of insights that you take home, and then you hopefully put into practice, because you don't want to be a collector of insights. You want to be someone that once gets an insight, makes something out of it, right? That turns the insight into an action. And for me, that was especially the concept of amplifying. So when you have your idea that is created and ready, like think about how can I amplify it even more? Is there a small thing that can be used in the visual, like a letter or some parts of it that can make it like a scale in terms of power? And the other thing was, I think that was one, and the second part was really trying to visualize the idea in different with different approaches, right? Often I think one way that is usually more illustrative visual metaphors. So I always see a picture of the thing that I want to explain. But then there might be a way to do it with abstract objects, right? Or simply by using letters. And the whole thing about testing the same concept in different way, like visualizing in with abstract images or with a full picture, etc., was also very useful, because sometimes I realize I have an idea, I'm not really sure how to turn it into a visual that might work.
Right.
And then what I do is that I just try a different perspective.
Okay.
And these were the two things that I really took home from after seeing like the whole course.
Yeah, cool. That's awesome. Just trying to make sure I follow. So I think you mentioned that you'd read the back of a napkin book. Is that something that you read, around the same time that you were producing these visuals, or was this something you've read years ago?
No, I think it was at least a year before, like 1 or 2 years before. Yeah, no, that was way earlier.
But at some point, it sounds like you've gone, I need more than a book. I want to get a course rather than a book to help me understand this. How do you even know that courses exist? Like, how did you find out that this was a thing you could buy? Did you go shopping for it?
Actually, I can tell you, if there was when I came across Yannis' profile, and then he had a link to his website, because that's how it went. I think it was like I've seen his name a bit of time on LinkedIn, and then there was also this. I saw his profile, and there was this also art on the pictures, and then I just check it, and I realized, okay, this guy has a course. But I can tell you, if there was the option of book and course, I would have bought the book first.
Oh, right, okay. So
Yeah.
were you looking for a book on this or a course on this, or is it just
No, but if I find book on the topic, I usually check them out, because yeah, I like the thing that you have like your own pace, you read stuff, you process it. So I do still a lot of value in the knowledge we have in books.
Yeah.
And as I did with the back of the napkin, now I don't remember the name of another one that I bought around like the same time of that one, but was always around like visualizing and visualization for facilitators, because I'm often in rooms with people and I have to facilitate discussions, so that of course helps. But yeah, if there was probably I wouldn't have bought the course if there was a book, or maybe after
Yeah.
having read the book, right? Who knows? But that
You
would be
remember
my
when,
first go-to.
I'm just trying to think, like when you landed on this page, you weren't looking for a course, you were looking for some of his other work and just being
Yeah.
curious. Suddenly you see that there's a course available. Did you whip your credit card out and buy it immediately, or did you go off and sort of think about it, or like, did you look for
No, it was a very busy period, and then I said, okay, now I'm not gonna have time for it. And I try not to buy stuff and leave it on the shelf unused.
Yeah.
So like for books, and then the same goes with courses. So what I did, I said, okay, I just took a note and I said, I'll go back when my agenda allows me actually to do something out of the course, because yeah, that was it. So it wasn't an immediate purchase.
Okay. And when did your agenda allow this? So it sounds like busy time at work. I'm not going to buy it and leave it on the shelf.
I think it was just like a month and a half or a couple of months, and then I bought the course.
Okay.
So
Did you
yeah.
look for any other courses? Were you sort of shopping around at that time, or did you just want to go back at his course particularly?
No, I think that no, I checked another couple of courses, Yannis peers and friends in the all creators community.
Can you remember who they were?
Am I allowed to make names, or
Yeah. If you're, this is really interesting, because
no, it's okay.
If you've looked for something and decided Yannis is in
True.
that match, it would be interesting to know why.
Yeah, because and actually I still have especially like the course of PJ Milani, Milani Creative. He is also one that together with Yannis really inspired me a lot in terms of how they were turning their visuals and their concepts into visuals. The thing is the structure of the course of that is still on my likely to-do list, the course of Milani Creative. So and I really like to engage with him and exchange comments, because but there is what I found is that Yannis' work was farther from what I was creating.
Okay.
While my style probably is closer to Milani Creative, but I don't want to compare myself to the master in this craft, because he is really something unique, I guess. But Yannis' style and way of thinking from his visuals really appear to me like this guy is thinking like differently than you are, and is producing something that is very effective and engaging. So it might be worth checking his thought process. And then the other element is that it was completely self-paced.
Okay.
So the type of engagement that the other course was requiring was also way more on connecting live with other people. So there was an effort, an initial effort that I perceived being like probably above what I could dedicate at the time. While Yanni's course, I said, okay, this is, and this is why also the option with the coaching and all the other steps was like too much. I thought this is like good enough for me in this moment to get a glimpse in like the way a creator thinks. Also, someone that he has a slightly different style than I have, because I saw many people in the community around Yanis leveraging a lot of the templates that he has created. And that is also used and advertised at the very beginning, saying, "Oh, you can then use the templates, build your own visuals on the templates that they give." And for me, that was never really a plus, because anyhow, I wanted to make it like mine, and I really got inspiration from some of his visuals and the structure he has, but I never really just tweaked his own templates. I always wanted to make it mine, and for me, it was really, really key to understand how this guy thinks. Right, so the whole process behind.
A lot. So if I'm hearing you right, it's like you've looked at PJ Milani's course. It's not that you don't want to do it. It's
no.
You know, it's not, you know, it's too much for me to do right now.
Correct.
And then the style you mentioned is similar to my own, whereas Yanis's style is very different. What does that mean?
Well, in terms of output, I think also Yanis at the very beginning of his course has this nice spectrum where he goes to super minimalistic type of design to very illustrative and complex illustrations. And then he's plotting some of the creators in that space. There's also the guy that wrote a book, Little Big Ideas or similar, like a sketchplanation. Like the guy is also an amazing creator. His book, well, Bill Gates wrote a review, so the guy knows his stuff. But and he is more on like fully illustrative and descriptive. Then you have like others that are even more minimal than Yanis is, right? So, and he was like putting his course on this spectrum. And that was the area that I wanted to explore more, because I feel like my tendency is to go a bit more towards the illustrative side of that spectrum. And also Milani's work that probably resonated with me initially even more than Yannis' work was just because it was like very close to what I could do. And then I got so fascinated by Yannis' work because he had that ability to make it almost minimal, abstract, sometimes just focusing on the core concept without sometimes the distraction of having a fully drawn picture, a person or whatever. So I said, okay, maybe it's good also to, you know, check what's outside, like someone else that is thinking slightly differently than I am. But yeah, and also to try to limit the overwhelm of the offering, because then there are also other creators offering other things, right? So at the moment you have to pick one, and my choice was, okay, at this moment, for the effort that it seems this is requiring, for the price that it has, for the complementarity of the work with respect to what I can do and study on my own, I thought like his course was the best one at that moment. I do have, as I mentioned, a few others on my to-do list, and I do like how all these creators are actually creating a community even sharing people within their own community, because there are people that belong to all the community of these creators, instead of like closing and fighting each other, right? So that is also something that I really really liked.
Okay, that's cool. So eventually you've found time in your schedule, you know, the effort to learn versus the price versus, you know, having a way of thinking about visuals that's complementary rather than competitive to your own, is you've locked in on Yannis's course.
Yeah. Well, then I would not say competitive to mine, but probably closer, or at least the perception is that since the output is similar to what I do,
Yeah.
very likely we have a more similar way of approaching how to turn right the concepts. Not because I felt competition, actually on the contrary. Initially, we tend to go towards what's more familiar to us.
Yeah.
And for me at the end was no, wait, maybe you would benefit also from getting it from a different angle.
Okay. Eventually, you've gotten round to sort of coming back to this, you know, on your to-do list. What was it about the time when you joined? Like, why then?
Yeah, I think because again, I think was I don't remember if it was before or after Christmas time, but it was in that moment, maybe either November, December, or January. Now I have to check, but it was a period where I could say, where I have completed another course that I was attending, so I could dedicate now also the time for it. And as I mentioned, I try not to buy stuff and just pile thing and stack things one on top of the other and forget about them. So it was like, okay, now I feel it's like a few hours. I don't remember if it was advertised how long the course would be, but I felt it was like a manageable amount of time that I would have to dedicate to it. So I said, okay, I have a few spare nights. I will just enjoy listening to the course, and then let's see what happens later. So that's it.
Okay, that's cool. So you finally pulled the trigger. Obviously, you've got that time to dedicate to it. When you did sign up, what were you hoping for?
I think to get what I got.
Okay.
That is that wasn't like templates that I could reuse or anything more than a structured approach to turn thoughts into images.
Okay.
And because that is, and for me that was clear. I think also in his tagline, like helping folks explain ideas right visually. I think that was already very fair. So like the promise to the customer was also fulfilled and pretty good. So that was clear. I didn't think, oh, I was expecting A and I got B. No, I think that was pretty smooth and consistent.
And when you signed up, were you worried about anything, spending this money on the course? No, nothing.
No, because as I mentioned, if you compare it to like buying a shirt or a pair of shoes or so, and you know, if you are willing to put in a bit of effort and to get at least not like 10 insights, but if you just wanna get one insight that can slightly improve the way you do what you do, then it's always worth the money. And I think that was very clear. I got more than one insight, so it was a good return on investment.
Cool, that's awesome. Look, I've asked some very stupid questions, I'm sure. Just as we come up, what have I missed? Have I missed anything important about this story?
Let me see. I don't know what would work the best for the cause you are trying to put together
just in case you had a
and work on,
particular,
right?
a particular
So,
thought.
no, I think I think there's at least one element that I thought we would be discussing more today.
Okay.
That is the community aspect.
Yep.
So I didn't realize that at the beginning, because and maybe also for the other calls and interviews you will have. So one thing is what got you to buy the course, and the other question that actually I was expecting was how come after a year you're still in contact with him and active on the platform?
Yeah.
Because for me that is another thing I wasn't expecting actually to then enjoy, and I'm not like the most active on the platform, and I have months where I'm not exchanging comments with anyone, but then there are moments where maybe I have a bit more time, and then I'm willing to just connect and hang out with the people in Yanni's community. And the way he does it is really really light in a positive way, like you don't feel pushed to do it. It comes a bit spontaneous and is there saying, look, we have this platform, it's fun if we hang out and share ideas and do things, but it's not that if you don't do it or if you do it too much or you have to do it in a certain way, things will change, right? So that, I think, the aspect of the community is actually what why we're having this call today, because then we kept in contact either via these feedback sessions or commenting other supporting the work of other creators that are on the platform. So that is for sure an important element to consider, like why you buy it and then why you stayed. Because the course, you can go through the course is a self-paced, you watch a few videos and then you can say, okay, I got these two things, why should I keep engaging with him? And I think he's quite good at that, like to give a sort of chill, safe space so that people actually feel to spontaneously like return and connect, but they don't have to overdo it. You're not like forced, and if you're not part of the pack, you're not allowed the next time to do something else. No, that I really appreciate it.
Cool. Oh, that's awesome. Look, thank you so much for taking the time and sharing your story. It's been a pleasure getting to know you and listening along. So thanks for that. Just one last thing to check. So I'm running this as a kind of live case study to do this. We're publishing it all live, so it'll be available to other creators and people like that. Whatever we discover, I still don't know, because this is, I think you're the 14th or 15th person, but we'll find out more later. Are you okay if I publish this video? Is it okay for us to use this?
Yeah. And is it going to be like snippets of the video? Is it going to be the full recording? How is it going to be?
I publish the full thing normally. So afterwards, I've been taking my notes and listening in. I'll probably think about what you've said and what have I learned. And I'll probably record a little bit of me sort of preambling, release this video, and then the post piece. It just, if you're okay with that, it really helps, because then people can see the whole lot of the research. And whenever we get to the findings, they can come and cross-check it and come back and say, okay, yeah, that makes sense, or not. So,
yeah, no, that would work for me. No problem.
Awesome. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And lovely talking to you, and wish you all the best with the business and with your visuals. I'll keep an eye out on LinkedIn.
Thank you, Neil. Have a nice rest of the day.
Cheers. Take care.
Good. Bye.
Okay, that's an interesting one there. He's the first person. I think we had a Knife in Saudi Arabia was somebody who also did do a lot of art, even though he thought he wasn't great. Obviously, Edoardo there sounds like he's put quite a lot of effort into it, life drawing, he's got some skills at sketching. And it kind of, he's not necessarily trying to learn how to draw. He's trying to learn how to think like Yannis based on this. It's, it's like, well, I can draw these visuals that are detailed and sophisticated, but there's somebody over here who's got a different way of doing it, a different way of thinking, and I'm going to buy a course to learn that way of thinking more than anything else. You know, it's again some of the marketing and messaging Yanis has on his page is about getting more following, getting more engagement, and stuff like that. This is another story where it's not about that. Yes, it's nice, you know, we get some likes, I can grow my network and all this stuff. That's a kind of secondary outcome. Whereas I want to sit down and do this activity to help me clarify my thinking, to help me be clearer in my communication with my clients and you know, in my sessions, and I'll produce a visual for that. And the engagement that I want from posting it on LinkedIn, and certainly in the community, is I want somebody to come and help analyze how clear is this idea, rather than maybe commenting on something else. So I think it's very similar to some of the others that we've seen as we go through this. There are a group of people where it's much less about the visual skill itself. It's much more about the thought process that goes into it. And it's about giving them the time and space to think through their own ideas. I think, was it Alex, I think is another example of somebody that we interviewed where, you know, he's in a workshop setting, he's seen the power of visuals, he knows that this stuff adds value. And if only I can use this to distill my own thoughts. And by the way, it's something I enjoy doing. So it's a skill. Those people tend to not want to pay up for the expensive one-on-one sessions, but they seem to be the most engaged in the community afterwards, which is quite an interesting thing. And I wonder, I mean, I don't know whether Yanis can charge a subscription to stay part of it or not. Maybe that's a way to monetize this for people who are clearly still getting value. But yeah, another interesting interview. Definitely got themes pulling together. Hopefully that helps you guys who are following along. Cheers.